Okay, this is just so everyone gets an idea of the history of where we're at. Actually, I was on the council. I went on the council in 1995, so I was here then. This was the Angel, it was called the gene-entry ownership of the team. And this is the situation we had. This was prior to 1996. And the Angels had use of the stadium and the parking lot, all 155 acres. And that's what the Angel baseball got out of the deal. What the city got, we got about $4 to $5 million per year in rent. And those are estimates. And again, I put this together this afternoon, so as forgive me if the terms aren't exactly accurate, but I think they're close. And these are there's a lot of smaller, minor things, but these are the major points. Okay, in 1996, there's the city of Anaheim entered into a lease negotiation when Disney bought the team. And essentially that was, a lot of you remember this, as $80 million Disney put into the stadium. The city put in $30 million to renovate Anaheim Stadium. And of course, it was, it was, a lot of people would say, hey, Disney's put in $80 million in your stadium, but the stadium had, basically Disney had all rights to the stadium. So I say the city put in $30 million in the stadium that Disney operated. The Angels, that lease term was for 33 years, but at the team's discretion, they could terminate the lease after only 20 years. And that brings us to today, which is 2016. So essentially, when we talk about these long-term leases, it really is to the first opt-out. That's where the city is guaranteed that they'll stay. Okay, so that was this again, the 1996 lease and renovation agreement. This is what we're operating under today, and this is where we're at. We're talking about this 216 opt-out. What the Angels got, their benefit from that deal, was that the Angels got to operate and maintain the stadium. And maintain the stadium is their responsibility to operate and maintain it. The Angels get all, and I wrote all, and I'm going to say essentially all. We do get $2 for every seat sold above 2.5 million. But other than that, the Angels get the revenue from the stadium, including ticket sales, except for that caveat, all concessions, signage, and advertising. Where the prior lease, the city shared in those things. The Angels get all revenue from the stadium naming rights. So as when they named the team Edison Field, all that money went to the Angels. Angels get the right to use a parking lot, and with that nearly all the parking revenue. Again, I think we get maybe $100,000 a year out of that, whatever, $6 or $7 million in parking. And the Angels got $30 million from the city back then for the renovation of the stadium that they've had total control over. What did we get from that? The Angels agreed to pick up the maintenance for the stadium. So again, we're talking about the Angels' obligation for the maintenance. It's their obligation. It's their obligation on the existing lease. It's not the city's obligation. The city gets $2 per ticket, only on tickets sold in excess of 2.6 million seats. Last year, this was approximately $500,000. We on a small percentage of the parking, which I think was maybe $100,000 or $200,000. Now, the city gets 2 platinum suites. I actually wish we didn't even get this, and I would suggest we don't take this suites. I think it's, that's what we get, and I don't think it's consistent really with public service, frankly. The team, and this was the big one. The team named Anaheim Angels under the provision that Anaheim shall be in the name of the team. The court later determined that naming the team Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim does not violate this agreement. That was at court, and the city lost. But the name Anaheim, in that, as I mentioned earlier, in that lawsuit, our experts, the city's experts in court, said that the name was worth to Anaheim in excess of $300 million. Okay, so now we are today. So here's the MOU. We've got the MOU and the lease amendment. There's 2 MOUs. One MOU is between Pacific Coast Investors, LLC, and one is between, and the City of Anaheim. Pacific Coast Investors is an entity owned by Artie Moreno. It is Angel Baseball, is, we all know that's the Angels, and the City of Anaheim. So go ahead and switch. So what does Pacific Coast Investors LLC get out of this? Well, this is what is bothering me so much. PCI gets to lease the city's 155 acres for a minimum of 66 years, or until 2079. Now, the estimated worth of this property with current entitlements, I know there's a appraisal that I saw when I was, that showed, I think it was by Jones Lang LaSalle, that we recently got, that said that this property is worth up to $380 million with current entitlements. PCI gets the exclusive right and sole discretion to transfer the property. So if this deal becomes complete, it could be sold the next day to someone who is not even associated with the Angels. PCI will have full discretion and control of and all rights to develop, improve, or otherwise alter the property. They can build, control to build what they want, subject, they could build right now, that is mentioned, right now it's entitled for 5,000 some residential units. They could, 1 million plus square feet of commercial, 1 million plus square feet of retail. That is already entitled. They could build that as soon as this is signed. PCI gets all revenue generated from the property, almost all. Well, I'll show that. Well, actually, they do get all of it because they do pay a little rent. PCI gets all revenue generated from the property. Everything is now. I would have thought when I would have thought a reasonable deal on this property to develop it would be some sort of joint venture between the city and Artie Moreno and the Angels, where there's some sort of sharing of revenue. We develop it together. We get the city, for putting up the land, like most developments, would get something, some share of the revenue. The investor putting up the money, and the capital, which, and it'd be some sort of sharing, and it could be a, when they talked about, Charles, you mentioned $3.8 billion of development. I would have thought that would have been a normal deal. That would have been the win-win that this deal could have brought. Let's see, PCI gets all revenue generated from the property. PCI will get additional economic assistance as a rebate of the taxes generated from the project. So on top of that, this agreement contemplates us rebating even the taxes that we would get. And as just, and not only are we giving them the property for $1 a year, we also, like the $158 million type deal, we'd be contemplating returning any hotel tax, property tax, sales tax, all those things. Okay, PCI. Now there's another MOU agreement. This is with Angel Baseball and the City of Anaheim. What do the Angels get from that agreement? The Angels get, if they choose, all use, control, and revenue from the stadium until 2057, which is a lot. I mean, we've talked a lot about tonight what the city gets from the Angels, and it's tremendous. It's tremendous. But we should also talk about what the Angels get from Anaheim, and it's tremendous. It is the prime market, I think, in the country to have a stadium there. I think it's a big thing to be able to play here till 2057. However, the Angels also get the right to terminate and leave in 20 years, 2036, or 27 years, 2043, or 34 years, 2050. As we know from this agreement tonight that we're talking about, the existing lease, when we signed that back in, when the city signed it back in '96, everyone said that's a 35-year lease. You know what, it's only a 20-year lease because that's the opt-out, and we even, so it really is a 20-year lease. Now, it's also interesting to note the lease for the baseball team is 20 years. The lease for all the property on the stadium is 66 years. So there's a 45-year So the team could leave in 2036. Meanwhile, the city is giving away for $1 a year all the parking lot, or the 150 acres. Okay, what else do the Angels get? The Angels get absolute control and exclusive rights concerning its team name. They can essentially remove Anaheim from its name. I mentioned earlier, the city in its own admission a few years ago said that was worth $300 million. The Angels will pay the city $2 seats sold over 3 million seats per season, rather than the $2 per seat sold over 2.6 million per seat per season. So that's the rent that they pay. So last year we got $500,000 for the $2 for every seat above 2.6 million. What that is if the Angels sold 2.6 million in one, the city would get $2 that year. So the agreement says by year 2020 that goes to 3 million, that threshold. So if there's a 3 million threshold this year, I don't think we would have gotten anything. Maybe we would have gotten a little bit, I don't know. I think just a very little bit. The Angels get the right to terminate the existing lease for additional 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2019. Okay, this one's the binding one. This is huge, and this is, please don't do this tonight. At least let the public weigh in on this one. The Angels get the right to terminate the existing lease for additional 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, allowing the team more time to terminate the lease and find a new home if it chooses. Why would we want to swing the door wide open and say, you know what, please terminate the lease if you like? Okay, what do we get from these MOUs and this lease amendment? Anaheim gets a Major League Baseball team named after Los Angeles to play their home games in Anaheim for a guaranteed 20 years to 2036. We don't get it's not 56 years, it's 20 years guaranteed. Anaheim gets as rent from the Angels $2 per seat sold above 3 million seats sold in a season. If that was this season, it's almost de minimis. Anaheim gets from the Angels 1 luxury suite, 20 suite days, and 2,500 tickets. I would gladly turn those in for cash. And here's Anaheim gets from PCI for the lease of the city's 155 acres, possibly our biggest asset until 2059, a total of $66. This is an MOU. This isn't a beginning salvo from the Angels saying this is what we like. This is what we're agreeing here to this tonight. Our job is to be stewards of the assets of the people of Anaheim, and that's how I'm doing my job. This deal, MOU, if we go forward with it, we'll give away that land for $1 a year.
Mr. Mayor?
It is a lot. I'm not finished. It is one of the largest assets of the city of Anaheim. And to say it doesn't affect the general fund, it is general fund. This is all general fund. It's the people's money. We have, if we sold that asset tomorrow, it could all right to general fund. We had our police officers here earlier. We have 350 police officers for a city of 350,000 people. That's 1 per 1,000. That is very skinny. How these guys do their job, I don't know. And here is this big asset that we have just agreed to the framework of the deal to give it away for $1. I'm going to vote no.